Okay, tonight I'm gonna make my version of a homemade spaghetti sauce. As you can see here, I have some sweet Vidalia onion, green peppers, lots of fresh garlic, again something I love to use, celery, and mushrooms. I'm gonna chop all this up and then I'll start making the sauce. I'm also using ground chicken tonight versus ground beef. Two reasons. One, it's a more healthy alternative. Also, my father, again, does not care to eat beef or pork for health reasons for him. So with that, we will use ground chicken. So I'm going to start off by getting my spot ready here. And I'm going to start chopping some onion and garlic. So I'm just going to slice that in half. Now, I want some small slices. I don't want them to be too big or too thick. So I'll do that like that. Everybody can have their own techniques and ways of slicing and dicing. This is how I like to do my onions. Goes pretty quick. Okay, so we got all our onions chopped. Now we're going to move to the garlic. Again, I'm going to give it a bit of a smash. And once again, we don't mind little bits of garlic in our sauce. So nice coarse chop is more than fine. Doesn't have to be too small. Again, we don't mind chewing on a little bit of garlic. Okay, we got the garlic all chopped. So now I'm just going to work on my celery. Don't want the pieces too thick, but I don't want them too small. But maybe 1/8 of an inch is plenty big. You want them to sweat down with the rest of your vegetables. Okay, so I'm going to start on my mushrooms now. Don't want these too thick. I don't want them too small because I don't want them just to break apart to nothing. The sauce won't take too long to soften these up. Okay, so now we have everything chopped and cut. We got our celery, green peppers, sweet Vidalia onion, lots of fresh garlic, and some mushrooms. So we're gonna put this aside for now, and we're gonna start to brown and cook down our ground chicken. Just before we brown the chicken, cook that down and start making our sauce, I just wanted to show you guys what I like to use. So I like to use tomato sauce, not pasta sauce or spaghetti sauce, because they'll come with all different types of spices in it and sugars and that. I don't really want to do all that. So I use just diced tomatoes, tomato paste, and tomato sauce. With that being said, then I can control what spices I put in, which I like to add, and we'll go over those in a few minutes. So for an average family, maybe 1 can, 1 can, 1 can. But for my family, it's 3 cans, 1 can, 3 cans. I like my sauce a little runny, so I don't need to add too much paste. Some people like it a little thicker. But once you add all your vegetables, your meat, and your 3 cans of each, and your tomato paste, it makes quite a bit of sauce for the 10 of us here. Okay, so now we're going to start to assemble the sauce. So I've got 1 tablespoon. We're going to go with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And the reason we're going to add the olive oil to this is because we don't want the chicken just to adhere right to the pot. So it just adds a little bit of oil to the pan to keep the chicken from sticking, but it also adds some flavor too. Olive oil has a very nice rich flavor. So again, ground chicken always has a paper stuck to its back, so it's just a matter of getting that off once we get it in there. Try to get all the bits. The chicken. One, so we'll get the chicken in there. Give it a little stir up. Let's turn down the heat a little bit. I don't want it to burn or become too brown before we actually get the meat cooked. So we're going to let this brown up a little bit, and we'll be back. Okay, so my meat's pretty much fully browned up right now. But one thing I like to do, especially with ground chicken, because it tends to hold together more, I like to give it a quick mash just to break up really big chunks. I guess if you want meatballs, I could make meatballs, but we want a meat sauce, so I don't want them to be too big, maybe the size of small grapes or smaller. So I like to just take a quick mash just before it's fully cooked and I start adding all the vegetables to finish cooking off the meat and sauce. Okay, so we're going to start off by adding some onions. I'm going to actually add everything but the mushrooms. We got garlic, onions. I'm going to keep the mushrooms back a little bit because they don't take near as long to cook down. So we'll try to soften up all the other vegetables a little bit. We'll sweat them down with the meat, just keeping back, like I say, the mushrooms for now the best I can. Maybe the odd one might sneak in, but hopefully not. Oh, here they all come now. Okay, so we got the onions, pepper, celery, and garlic into the pot. Just gonna let that, we're gonna give it a little stir actually, and then we're just gonna let it sweat down. Probably keeping the heat on, let's say medium, because again, we don't want to scorch or burn the meat, but we do want the temperature there so we can actually get these to cook down. Once these are cooked down and softened up, we'll add the sauces and the spices. And I'll take a quick second to talk about the spices. So right here I have basil leaf, oregano, about a tablespoon of each, half a teaspoon of sugar, a teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder. I've got 4 bay leaves, quarter, say maybe for me half a teaspoon of celery salt, and then I'll add some fresh salt and pepper, fresh cracked pepper and salt once I get all this done. Okay, so the vegetables have been sauteing probably for about 7-8 minutes now. Before they become fully softened up, I'm going to add the mushroom. When I add the mushroom, I'm also going to start adding my seasoning too. Sometimes adding it in before you start adding all the sauces or after you add all the sauces, the heat of the pan cooking can actually start to release some of the spices, making it a little bit more noticeable in the sauce. So we're just gonna stir all that in, and as I say, I've added my spices just so I can get the aroma start to spread through and releasing the flavors. So we've allowed the mushrooms and everything to cook together, so the mushrooms are now becoming soft, pliable. The spices have been added in, as you can kind of see the colors of the spices and the different things in there. And you can actually smell them coming out of the spice itself too, so the aroma is very nice. So I'm going to start adding some of the canned tomatoes and canned sauces. This pot is going to be very full, let me tell you. So we're just going to keep adding these, and once we get all the sauces in, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we'll give everything a stir up. Okay, as you can see, I've gotten all the cans of sauce in there. That's 1 full pot of sauce. The very last thing I'm going to do is add some Himalayan pink sea salt and some fresh cracked pepper, and then we'll give that one final stir, and then we're going to let this simmer probably for about 30 to 45 minutes on, I want to say, low to medium at most. You don't want it to burn or like burn to the bottom of the pot if you have your heat too high, so a low simmer is what we're looking for. Okay, so we're using spaghettini tonight. It's a thinner noodle, one of my favorites, and my children like it a lot. If you look over here, we got our sauce is come together really nice. 1 full pot of sauce. This will do us 2 to 3 meals easily. So the noodles are just about boiled. We'll strain those off and we'll plate up dinner, and we'll hopefully enjoy a really good homemade pasta night. Okay, there we go. So we got our spaghetti with chicken meat sauce, and on our nice spaghettini, a little fresh bread, a little Parmesan on top. I hope you enjoy and come back again next week. Thank you.